Well, the wonderful thing about Rollo is he loves fighting. And the wonderful thing about Clive is he loves fighting. So he was great for me in rehearsals. I had worked with him once before and knew that coming in. With Rollo, he's certainly somebody that likes to get into the fray, enjoys the battle, wants to make a name for himself within the battle. And because Clive is very adept at fighting, he's really good for me. So we had great fun there. And his main weapon is a large axe, what we'll call a Dane axe, a big two-handed axe, which we would have him wield and cause mayhem wherever he went.
The thing that's most rewarding is learning how to use these weapons. Mainly the shield and the axe would be the day-to-day weapons that Rollo would use. And I had a sword on my back. That's the real deal. The weapons you see us with are no different than they would be in the 8th century. They're heavy, they're brutal, they lead your movements as you're fighting with them. You don't lead the axe leads you. What I like to try and do at the day of the actual filming and the taping of the fight is to not think about it at all. So when you go into that fight, it's fresh and you are flying by the seat of your pants. You know, blades are glancing past your face and you're getting your blade up there to block it right at the last minute, and it makes it a lot more real. You can hopefully see the whites of your eyes, the fear. This is a matter of life or death, and I think that's important to play. The landscape in Ireland is ever-changing, and you can rehearse as much as you want, but when you actually get onto the battlefield and it's been raining for 2 weeks constantly and the mud is up to your shins and you're slipping and sliding, in TV, you can't just stop and go, whoa, we need to do that again. You just have to make do with what you've got.
Family life to the Vikings was everything. Family relationships were everything. They fought together in the ship. So Rollo hits rock bottom.
Season 2 is all about redemption for Rollo and learning about how he can change as a person. And Rollo's a character that's only had to really worry about himself. He's been very good at looking after his own back. He lives on the margins. He's never had to consider anyone's safety other than his own. And he starts to realize that to be a great leader, to be a great person, it's more about taking other people's lives into your own hands, and that's what makes a good leader.
And I'm not sure if anything will ever be the same with the two brothers, but his blood, so.
The brothers do reunite and they settle their differences, but you can't choose your family. You can choose your friends, you can't choose your family, and I think Ragnar accepts Rollo back on team, but things will never be the same again. He's seen a side to Rollo that he didn't know existed, and Rollo's shown behavior that I don't think he can ever gain his trust completely and implicitly ever again. Up the ante, and we also show Vikings against Vikings. How, when you know the other army's tactics, how do you counter those tactics? The challenges of the battles, personally, have been an epic learning curve for me. I mean, Rollo himself is a berserker, so we translate the word berserk, which comes from bare skin, to its literal meaning, as in you go into battle with bare skin. You don't need armor to protect you, because if you believe that the gods are in charge of the length of your life and the day of your death, then why do you need armor? Why can't you prove to Odin that you're fearless and you can go into battle, and if you're meant to die, you're meant to die? But what that means for me in the show is that I'm going up against stuntmen, 60 stuntmen in an army that are all covered with from top to toe with pads and things underneath their costumes, and I've got my bare chest out and I've got nowhere to hide any pads, so I'm running and slamming into metal shields and spears and axes.
Close the wall!
It's just one of those things where you get to the end of the day and you're just spent and you want to collapse, but it's just such a kind of a massive adrenaline-fueled day that you wouldn't give it up for anything. What really made me want to get involved in Vikings was the chance to work with Michael Hirst. I'm a big history nut myself. I've got a great admiration for his projects. And I think when you work with Michael, you don't just get a phenomenal scriptwriter, you get a historian to boot.
I was trying to figure out how he could top some of the battles, but we definitely have done that in season 3, and just the amount of boats, the amount of extra Vikings and Saxons and the Frankish soldiers, the more extras we've had in these battle scenes and the more stuntmen that we've brought in, it just really made it something that we've never done before. It's epic now.
Rollo Lothbrok, comrade, sometimes rival.
Fear not death, for the hour of your doom is set, and none may escape it. No longer plots.
Cattle die, kinsfolk die, we ourselves must die. But one thing I know will never die: a dead man's reputation.